nervous?
No.
Where's your answer?
Dennis Beckham, let the ball on! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Oh! Oh, no! Oh, yes! He missed it.
Welcome to the Suffering from Joy podcast. My name is Devin. It's been a little while since we've been with you. Austin FC hasn't played a competitive match for almost a month now. But we're back. We had a nice break. Everybody's feeling nice and refreshed. Coming off a great 2-0 win. Always nice to win the bachelorette party derby. And we have the whole crew with us tonight. That's why we're recording a little later than normal, because we wanted to make sure everybody came back and they were ready to go. So I did ask everybody to write an essay about what they did on their summer vacation. So Brad, you want to lead us off? What did you do on your summer vacation?
So I took a nice trip up to Rochester, Minnesota, quaint little town with an ear of corn for a water tower, which is, whatever. And ate a nice lunch while watching the women's national team semifinal of the Olympics at the Canadian Honker, which is a nice little breakfast / lunch spot up there. It's very Midwestern. And then I played a bunch of golf, and that's been pretty much it.
Okay, but I know everybody is dying to know what's going on with your dynasty.
So we're coming off of back-to-back national championships.
Okay.
Currently, we're 10-1, and
Who's we?
we're still with the Pitt Panthers.
Okay.
They're number 2 in the country. We're working on that, and then I think next year, once we get past this season, we're probably going to go to an all-independent schedule for Pitt and play nothing but road games to really up the challenge. And then we have a second dynasty going now. Some members of Los Verdes have put together a online dynasty league. All of us have chosen a Sun Belt Conference team, and by random draw, and I was given the James Madison Dukes, and currently the Dukes are 4-0, but about to start conference play against everybody else here.
Okay, not bad, not bad. We are recording during the Canadian Championship, and Lorenzo Insigne just scored a lovely volley off of I guess you would call it a nice cross from Bernadeschi, whose dreadlocks are just indescribably disgusting. But Scott, what'd you do on your summer vacation?
Not a whole lot. I did, however, make it to the match in Nashville over the weekend, which was a really great time, really good experience. My first time in Nashville. I slept a grand total of 8 hours between getting up early to watch the Manchester United play at 6:30 a.m. and to try to get on a direct flight that I failed to get on, having to wake up at 6:20 again. And then I took a day yesterday to kind of not do anything and recharge. And I'm really happy to be here. First time, obviously, on the podcast, long-time listener. And I really appreciate the opportunity to join into the discussion and what y'all have been doing. As a long-time listener, it's really helped me get out of a lot of dark places before.
Okay, thank you. Anything about Bar?
So I'm just going to say this. I don't like rooting for a team that is highly reliant on offside calls being correct at all times. It's very nerve-wracking, and it is not good for the idea of you can celebrate anything before waiting for a VAR challenge.
I will say even I felt bad for Garnacho on Saturday.
One, it's his own fault because he has to elevate the ball there. But two, of all the dumb fucking ways to not get a goal, that was one of the dumbest.
Yeah, but it was great fun for everybody who isn't a United fan.
Karma
is coming home to roost after years and years and years.
It looks like we actually have some confident ownership now, and so that's going to be great going forward because you have no idea how obnoxious we're going to be the next time we win the Premier League.
I have an idea, actually. I'm on my way there. So, it sounds like you barely slept. You went out to Broadway, kind of did the full bachelorette experience.
Wait, we have to ask.
Not quite.
How many bachelorette parties did you count?
Yes.
I told you to play this game.
You did. I think my last count was 43. I will also say this. I did count the one that I saw at 11:30 a.m. that was in the bright light of day was dancing to club music on an open bus and just going through the middle of town.
Yeah,
which
that's
really I felt
normal.
like it really was just like a warning sign of like, this is what you've gone to.
So I work on 6th Street, and like every Thursday around noon to 2-ish, there will be like a woo girl pedal crawler go by my window, and I'll be like, oh, okay, fuck.
So
It's the weekend.
So one of my Uber drivers, she had, so her, or according to her, she had an apartment next to one of the pedal cruiser shops, and it was so loud and obnoxious that she couldn't live there and actually ended her lease early to move.
Smart.
Wow.
That's smart. All right. Well, Seth, how was your summer vacation?
My summer vacation was great. I spent, as we're watching the Canadian Championship, I spent some time up in Canada as well, where their government pays you to watch the Olympics, which is fantastic. Like, you don't have to, I mean, let's face it, all of us have Peacock because we're all EPL fans. We get to this point. So for us, maybe it's not a big deal, but like, it's nice that like your taxes go and actually pay for something. Novel concept. Absolutely beautiful up there. And then I also got to hang out with Scott in Nashville, which was fun. Always getting to see the crazy scene. It was the first time I had been to an away game and not sat in the supporter section because I was staying with family and others. So I took a bunch of my cousins to the game, which was a fun experience. But it was still, yeah, it was definitely a different experience. But also winning was a different experience on the road because I hadn't seen a road win in person in 25 months. So it was nice to see that.
So would you guys like our first fun stat of the day?
Yeah.
Our last 2 road wins are against goalkeepers that I was once friends with. So I think those are the only 2 in MLS. So let's try to break that streak. But
So you're telling me I should cancel my trip to Canada in a few weeks?
A counterpoint: we need Devin to befriend more keepers.
yeah, I mean, if you guys want to like hook me up, let's call Lahoot, see if he can just like set me up on like a goalkeeper roundtable.
I was about to say, I mean, like, yeah, honestly, you get to Takaoka as being a good friend of yours. You never know. Stranger things can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to befriend Hugo Lloris, but he seems to be doing fine on his own. So,
Yeah.
So we are going to change a little bit of the format. We're going to do moments of suffering as we kind of go through the game because it seems to flow a little better. So we're going to start talking about the game, and we're going to do my moment of suffering first. After a month of not having Austin FC, a minute, maybe 80 seconds into the game, shuffleboard beats the offside trap. Hindsight goes out of his mind sliding through the tackle. I have no idea how this wasn't given a penalty on the field. And my moment of suffering isn't like when it's given as a penalty or anything, but it's like, okay, live, that's clearly a penalty. The first couple replays, clearly a penalty. And then they keep kind of showing replays. And some of the reverse angles look a little divey and maybe we're going to get away with it. And then no penalty.
It also took 3 minutes before the ref went over to the VAR monitor. Like, how is that okay?
I don't know. Like, So I watched the highlights again, and between when the tackle is made and the penalty is taken, 5+ minutes go by.
Yes. We had 11 minutes of stoppage time in that first half.
And some of that was injuries.
I fundamentally have
some, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to the other part.
I was going to say, most of that was not injuries.
Yeah, we'll get to the other part. Don't worry.
I fundamentally have no problem with the penalty call. I think it was the
correct
right call. However, and you hit it on the head here.
However,
as I draw the box, the spirit of the rule in MLS is clear and obvious. And if it takes that long to even get called over to the to the screen, it is not clear and obvious.
Ooh, was it clear and obvious that the guy on Forge was just knocked down in the box?
We'll see on the replay.
I thought so. Yeah, it almost looked like the referee, like there was some kind of communication issue between him and the
that's
VAR
in the back.
official.
That should be a penalty.
Oh my God, that is absolutely a penalty. They need to call this.
You just absolutely just crushed that dude.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, this is why we're doing it live.
Okay, like it should be a penalty just for Bernadeschi's dreads, but
Bernadeschi's dreads. Has he been watching too much House of the Dragon?
No, he looks like the dudes from like the second Matrix movie.
The twins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what their fucking names are.
I think they're literally called the twins.
Okay, so Scott, for you, penalty?
Yeah, I thought it was a penalty. I was kind of surprised it wasn't called immediately. And then my frustration just like waiting that long to get a call when like, especially right at the beginning of the game, like, you know, you're in your seats and you're ready and like there's chanting and singing, like, and then it's all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're just gonna sit and wait around for 4 minutes while the referee like kind of waits to even check it, which I think was the part that frustrated me the most because he just stood there. Like, if it took that long because he was like looking at the screen, it's one thing, but it just like he was just standing there, just like waiting for VAR to tell him what to do by the one.
Yes. Hey, there were 2 Frisco fans.
There's a side conversation that has to happen here based on this play, though, and that's Brendan Hines-Ike has been doing this a lot lately. Like, he's been making some plays that have been putting us in bad positions and giving up PKs, and if that's gonna get now, we got Svatak and he should be playing more soon. But all year we've been singing BHI's praises and hey, what a great value signing. I still think he is a great value signing, but you have to ask, like, Cascante wasn't on the team sheet. We left Vyson on the bench. Is he that much better right now than those two?
Well, do you think he's maybe too comfortable in his spot and he's trying to play hero ball? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, because the other night there was no reason for that play that he made the other night. If he just gets on the attacker's hip, there's really no angle to shoot at Stuber there.
Right, yeah. Just close down the cutback.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but I don't, it's the first competitive game in a month. Maybe he's just a little too amped up. And again, it's a minute into the game.
Yeah, it's not the first time this has happened lately.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's favorite faux statistician term, reverting to the mean, and he was outperforming himself earlier in the season.
Yeah, I was going to say that like maybe we're seeing a little bit of why like he was available as a free agent.
I have to sidebar real quick. Is there a carnival going on behind the?
So that's the Canadian National Expo that I was telling you guys about before the game. So this is the Canadian National Expo is like, imagine every state has their own fair, but like Canada really only counts as one state, even though yes, of course they have provinces and territories and islands and all sorts of other fun things. Magical Fairy Dust too. But yeah, they have the Canadian National Expo that goes for 2.5 weeks each summer right around BMO Stadium. So they erect a temporary casino. There is a massive carnival going on in the background, and there are more people at the expo than there are at the Canadian Championship right now.
Every soccer game needs a carnival in the background. I'm just
Well, I mean, the Prime Minister is Aladdin, so
I will say until we go up to the game in a few weeks, the only other game I have seen at BMO Field for TFC was in 2014 during the National Expo, and I just spent 3 hours eating Canadian fried foods after the game. It was fantastic.
That does sound nice. Okay, so we all agree it was a penalty, though, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the VAR review was also a giant shit mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on from that, kind of trade a few chances, a few barbs each way, but nothing really happens until. Do we want to talk about the thing, or am I missing something in between?
We could talk about the thing. You have a new Aussie player for Nashville. Yeah. What? Go ahead.
Can I back us up real fast?
Sure.
We just totally skipped over an amazing PK save.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, that's my fault. We're out of practice. We're stretching too. So let's talk about the PK save, Brad.
Fundamentally changes the game 6-7 minutes into the game, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like, I thought Brad Stuver, and he had another save we'll talk about in the second half. I thought top to bottom, that was arguably one of his 2 or 3 best performances ever.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, this save, like, I can't believe people thought this wasn't a save. Because you can see the angle it like comes off, and like Hani Mukhtar, I make fun of him for being a Bundesliga kick and run merchant all the time, but he can whack a penalty.
Yeah.
And he hit it pretty hard. It's a comfortable height, but it's towards the side of the net. It's not an easy save, and Stuver gets over and gets enough behind it to push it onto the post.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was hit hard enough to where Stuver didn't get much of it. He just got enough of it to deflect it off the post.
Yeah,
but still, it's a great save. and he's now saving, I think I saw the stat, including shootouts, he's saving a third of all PKs that he's faced in Austin.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
But I think that was his first save this season.
Yeah.
I think it's his first.
It was the first
save
PK
since
that he's faced all
2022.
season. It's only the second one we've given up. Well, the first one we've given up in league play this season.
Didn't we give one up against RSL?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Then we did. You're right.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, it's a hell of a save, and like, can you imagine the head hanging if he didn't save that? Like, do we go on to win this game if he doesn't save that? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Change the whole game. So,
surprise, Predictatron, bitches.
Back to the other thing.
Yes, the other thing. Which I actually think is like the pivotal moment in this game, but we'll save that, other than the Stuver save. We'll save that for after we discuss it. So, there are rules. This is not Vietnam, Walter. About what can and can't be said on the field. And do we actually have any idea, other than speculation from a bunch of Australian people on Twitter, what was actually said?
No.
We really don't. And I was where it was being said, it was not said towards the side that I was on or the side that Scott was on.
Okay. So I did watch a little bit of the like in-game rewinded, kind of looked at it. The word that the Australian fans are saying he said is count. Thank you. One count. And I mean, a lot of us watch EPL. A lot of us watch Anglosphere soccer. I can't imagine that word is what stopped the game for 5 minutes and required him to be subbed off. What do you guys think?
I think it was that word combined with a finger pointing motion or something else, that it was both a verbal and a gesture that got it to that point.
Okay. Brad or Scott?
I was gonna say that I think it was that word, but directed at a specific player or person that caused it to like get out of just like, instead of using it just as like a generic swear word, but using it in a like aggressive or like pointed way, that probably got the attention.
Well, I mean,
I think the weirdest part of it was that like we got no instruction in the stadium of what was going on, and so again we had another situation where the referee just kind of stood there, and at one point I thought it was a hydration break. As Toronto hits the post. But then I was like, okay, but at a hydration break, the referee doesn't call both captains over at the beginning and end to explain it. And so clearly like something else was going on, but we had no idea.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing to me was, were the coaches consulted enough? Because they were talking the whole time. Were they consulted and kind of given the option? So, hey, this is your play, pull them off the field, and we can move on, or we can give a card. And did they come to that agreement? That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, and I think that's my thought, is like it was said, it seems like to Owen, possibly Danny, and BJ Callahan and Josh are old friends. The ref came over, said, I didn't, like, it was very clear from the announcers on Apple that the refs said they didn't hear anything, they didn't know, but it was reported by a player. So my guess is they just sort of came to this, like, let's just sub them off and move on with the game, kind of détente middle agreement thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, right? I obviously I can only go by what we saw because the explanations were few and far between. Now the TV did say, the commentators did say that apparently there's mics all over the field, so somebody probably was able to pick it up at some point.
So you're telling me there's more mics on the field than there are cameras on the field?
Yes.
Apparently. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna do VAR by audio now.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm with Seth on this too. I think it was a combination of count and something else, because that by itself, like, it doesn't really mean anything. Especially, it means like dude in Australian for the most part. But I don't see Owen or Danny getting that upset about like just that word either. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that they're both of them have been used to being taunted and other things like that. But I don't know. I feel like Owen would probably be faster to report it than Danny, but I don't have anything besides speculation and having seen them play. But then again, both of them have been fairly thin-skinned in the past. I mean, I think they've both been improving this season on that, but they're also like, hey, this guy's tearing us apart. Let's get him off the field. And if that was the strategy on our end, like that's kind of brilliant. I don't think that's the case, but that would be kind of brilliant.
No, I mean, if that was actually like some weird, absolute gamesmanship, Machiavellian bullshit, awesome job. But I don't think so.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to cover here? Or
apparently
should we go
there's.
on to the next?
Oh, I was going to say, apparently
Go
there
ahead.
is a list somewhere of words that are banned to say as a player in MLS, and I've been trying to track it down because I'd be very interested to read what is and is not on there.
No,
I kind of
the
assume
list.
it's like a George. I kind of assume it's like a George Carlin bit, but like with more racist tones. But like, I just want to.
I saw it on Twitter. We will pull it up.
Yeah,
Toronto
I
nearly
also assumed it was in George Carlin voice, so I'm glad we're on the same page there. Toronto just missed an absolute sitter.
Yep.
Scott, I think you're
And again, Bernadette.
Yeah, from Prince. Okay. Moving on to the next big event
Yep,
in the
and
game.
I'll go with my moment of suffering here.
Okay.
So it is. So as I mentioned earlier, I took a bunch of my cousins to this game, and a bunch of them are 10, 11, 12 years old. And there's nothing like watching a soccer game with a 10-year-old who like plays club soccer and semi knows what he's talking about, but it's also like every single time a Nashville player falls down or anything, it's automatically a foul on Austin, and other way around, there's no issue at all. Which I mean is honestly good on his parents for teaching him good homerism, because like that is important to learn as a preteen.
It is.
But as at first, that play looks like a beautiful ball in. It looks like it's a clear Austin goal. It's like, oh, Dries, you scored. We're taking the lead after this, and I jump up. I put in this little forward motion, and then I see like the flag come back. The guy's not offside. What is this for? And I just have like four cousins all pointing their finger at me and taunting me at the same time. I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I deserve right now for celebrating a goal that was not a goal when you bring a bunch of your cousins who are Nashville fans to a Nashville game.
Please tell me you gave it back to him in the second half.
Oh, yeah, well, they didn't even stay till the end of the game.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, once Austin scored the second goal, it was like you're just gonna go hang out with your friends, right? Like you're not gonna come back. I was like, yeah, have a good night. I'll see you.
Deuces, bitch.
Yeah. The sections next to the supporter section just completely cleared out when the second goal happened.
I was going to ask, the crowd looked pretty sparse on TV. How was it in stadium?
So they claimed
They
claimed it was an announced crowd of 28,000 out of 28,800 something out of 30,000. That was more bullshit than any number I've seen at Q2, and we've seen a lot of bullshit numbers at Q2.
Sorry, what was the count?
Was 28,813 there, but I would
no fucking way.
Yes. My guess. I will say the stadium is deceptive because of the way they alternate the blue, yellow, and white seats, that it is hard to figure out who is a person and who is a seat. But my guess is, based on everything, that there was probably about 17,000 there for the game.
Okay, that's not terrible.
It's not terrible, not great, but it's also their first Saturday night home game in over a month. It was warm, but not intolerable weather. But like their front office is just incompetent. The Stuvers were a couple rows behind me, and I hung out with them a bit after the game. And they did not get their tickets assigned to them until 4:30 on match day.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't get approval for the trumpet that we brought in until like noon on match day.
By the way, Brad, you were watching on the broadcast. They put a mic next to the worst fucking trumpet in history.
Oh, it was terrible.
Did you want to light everything on fire?
Yes, it was just basically one trumpet that was way off tune. Like, you know how sometimes you hear the one trumpet in Houston, you're like, oh, it's so sad. This was worse somehow. Yeah, it was bad. And the funny thing is, and you guys who were there at the game, you don't know this, in the second half, after we got up 2-0, you could clearly hear the visiting supporter section taking over the stadium.
Yep.
It was quite funny.
That was nice.
Yeah, I mean, their home section, supporter section, looked like maybe like 45 to 50% full. It was pretty sad to see.
And they used to have 7 sections there. They have replaced 2 sections of their bleachers with seats. And like you can buy group tickets, because I bought group tickets for this match for my family. And that you could buy group tickets in the 2 sections that are seated right next to the supporter section. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Going back to the play, Scott, is this a foul?
On Bukhari?
Yeah.
The disallowed goal.
The disallowed goal? No. I thought it was really soft. I actually couldn't tell in stadium if the main official called it or if the AR did. Because I thought
I still don't know.
I'm still not sure. But no, I thought it was just a clear case that like the ref like thought it was kind of iffy, and then saw we scored and thought that would like ding him in his reporting or in his like report card, and so he therefore called it. And I just thought it was a really ridiculous call, especially with how long it took to make. Because again, the referee just took so long to make any big decision.
Yeah, and I mean, like a little bit on the ref's side here. Maybe you can say he's waiting to let the play develop, and then he wants to call the foul afterwards in case he's not sure, and like they can overturn it on VAR. Theoretically, that's what he's doing. That's not what's fucking happening, but I can make a case for him. Brad, thoughts here?
No, I thought it was very, very soft, and it was a robbery of a goal. It was pretty clear to me that the Nashville defender kind of just got his pocket picked and then fell over on his own. I didn't think there was anything that rose to the level of a foul, and the delayed call makes it even more frustrating because I don't think the ref actually thought it was a foul at the beginning either.
Yeah, I think if you call Bukhari when he's like first kind of shoving the guy,
yeah, I can live with it at that point.
Yeah, maybe you can say that, but once it's like both of them going back and forth and then Bukhari just wins, that's insane.
Yeah.
There was a similar play at FCito on Friday, which, by the way, shout out to FCito. I think it was 89th and 92nd minute goals to come from behind to win 4-3 over PIDS 2. But the referee had an atrocious game. There was a portion where we're pressuring the right back. He passes it back to the keeper. The keeper kind of does the like stand on the ball, wait thing. And then the keeper picks it up and the ref blows his whistle. It was very clear back pass, and he calls a foul like 3 seconds after the keeper had just been like waiting on the ball. And it kind of gave me very similar vibes of like, okay, I'm just going to make the simple bailout call that nobody can really say like, oh, well, it wasn't a foul. It was kind of going head to head. And it very much gave me that vibe. But yeah, should have been a goal for me. I agree, though. I don't think it should be enough to like overturn on VAR, but that makes the ref's call even worse for me because he knows that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like also like I feel like a VAR wouldn't review a foul like that.
No, like it's it's whatever's called on the field. So call it on the fucking field. Yeah. Don't wait till after the fucking play.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that seemed to be the issue on a lot of these is even if you got the call right, it took you forever. Why?
Mm-hmm.
So then we did get a goal though.
Yes.
Reminiscent of the Alex Ring, I'm just gonna fucking do it myself and hit it over the top from earlier this season to I think that was Obrion.
Yes, it was.
I think the Nashville player here takes a very, very, very bad path towards Alex Ring, and Ring has some old man energy to show the Rook what's going on.
Well, also Ring had so much space to make that pass. Yep. Like I feel like once Yazbek was subbed out of the match, we had so much like in the first 35 to 40 minutes of that match, we could not go down the middle of the field. And then the rest of the match, it was like a freaking Tennessee highway. We had 6 lanes of uninterrupted traffic. I mean, it didn't split into the middle like all those highways do in Nashville, but that would involve us actually making turns. But we'll get to turns in the second half here. But
that goal and that pass felt like a FIFA goal.
Yes.
Like I'm sitting there trying to play FIFA, and you just play the through ball, and there's a ton of space, and you just run up on it and casually kick it in. That was that goal.
Is this a classic Alex Ring value add goal that I don't think any other midfielder we have is going to actually make that pass? Like leave Driussi aside.
I think even including Driussi, I'm not sure he makes that pass.
Yeah.
I feel like Danny would try that pass, but he wouldn't make it yet.
No, Danny hit a similar pass in Frisco a few weeks ago, though.
Yeah. It can happen. I don't think it happens with the regularity that it does with range.
Also, okay, so I actually have like a larger philosophical question here. Is John Gallagher one of the 3 best finishers of chances on this team?
I think that's an actually interesting conversation to have, because when he gets the ball at his feet with a chance to score, he usually puts it in. Wow, I haven't even considered that. And was anybody else's eyebrows raised when Galley was in the lineup over
O'Brien?
Well, it seems like O'Brien is going to use, and him and Bukhari are going to play on the same side until we see otherwise. I mean, it'd be kind of fun to have them both out there at the same time. Just like, I don't know of an MLS team that would have ever had wingers that speedy at the same time. But I don't know how often. I don't think we're going to see them out on the field together too often.
Yeah,
I mean, we've talked before a lot about how like O'Brien's best position may be as a sub at the end going against tired legs, and now that we're actually doing it, everybody's like, well, why isn't he playing more? And it's like, well, guys, like, this is the plan. Like, we actually have like a full healthy squad to the point that like there are players that we think of as starters and starting caliber players who don't even make it now. Like, we didn't go over the lineup, but like Julio Cascante didn't even make the 20. Yeah. And like, that's a dude who's like, I think 3rd on our list of captains.
Sorry.
Oh, what a save there. Oh, my.
Okay, I actually think I'm ahead of you, but I'm slower in reacting because that's an incredible save.
Yeah.
It was an incredible shot.
Yeah.
Oh, he's offside.
I was going to say, like, that is someone who is trying to fight for U.S. Oh, he was off, but, like, trying to fight for national team minutes.
Continue, sorry.
Sorry, Scott.
But yeah, like I think we kind of have to like recalibrate like this idea of like how everybody gets minutes now that we like actually have a full 20 that doesn't involve 3 keepers and 2 guys on supplemental slots.
I mean, we had 2 strikers not start.
Yeah, I mean, to Brad's point, it was like an eyebrow raise, but it was sort of like, I don't know, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think it was like, okay, that's interesting. The bigger conversations around the lineup and the card have to be Cascante not making the trip. And
Kolmanich.
Well, I didn't even think about Kolmanich, but then I was also thinking going with a false 9 with Driussi. Like, that's an interesting decision on how we want to utilize our players moving forward. And it felt like to me, Josh was just trying to get, especially in the front, off the back line, in the front 6 guys, just get the absolute best players and technical players on the pitch all together. Is kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, that's how it read to me, is let's get our best guys on the field and let them figure it out.
Yeah. Which I'm not opposed to that strategy.
I also think that those guys kind of fit together well. I actually think the piece that doesn't fit perfectly is Driussi as much as we want to say false 9. I felt like there was a lot more of him playing striker and like playing further stuff than a false 9 I would think normally does. But I think that ultimately, like, this team is at its best when Driussi is able to come back and be part of the build-up play, and we can try and utilize the speed behind, which kind of brings into my moment of suffering, which is that we had multiple chances where either Bukhari or O'Brien were basically even with their defender, which at those guys' speed level means that they've got them beat.
Yes.
And we just couldn't get that pass around the defender that would have put them just like on to goal one-on-one with the keeper. And, Joe Willis isn't a great goalkeeper, I think we can safely say. And I think anytime you can get your guy one-on-one with them, like, you have to expect a goal being scored there. So this really could have turned into a like 4 or 5-0 win for Austin had we just been like a little bit better at those passes.
Joe Willis,
or had
pretty good at geometry, though.
Rabona at a certain.
Yeah,
certain
I mean, that was just decadent.
I mean, it was at a point where we could afford to be decadent, but still.
Yes, I agree, but
it would have been absurd. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, what it looked like for Driussi, and this is going to be kind of weird to say, is like he was playing shadow or second striker, but like without a real one.
Yeah.
Somebody's iMessage is going nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I I actually would like to see that a little bit more if we let Gallagher kind of like cut inside a little bit more, because I think he would do a good job of kind of like providing that run and that attention to defense, or providing that like the attention of the defense. Like, I think one of the interesting things looking forward about Vancouver is how does a 3-man backline defend a false nine, which I think will be kind of like an interesting thing to look at.
So while we're on this, are we expecting the same lineup?
I mean, effectively, this is a pretty similar lineup to the lineup that we ran against LAFC, which honestly we didn't. Well, in that other thing, in that exhibition thing, but
You
like
can talk about it. It's over.
but you get to a point there. I feel like until it's beaten, I don't think Josh is going to change it that much.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, we're fighting for every point right now, right? So until if you've got something that might work, you have to continue with it. Nashville's dreadful. Like, let's not forget that. They're just not good.
Yeah.
But we have to take, I think, considering Vancouver's playing tonight. I haven't seen what lineup they're rolling tonight, but they're playing tonight.
And they haven't played in 20 days before tonight, so I have to imagine that they're running out of if they're not running out their first team, they're actually doing themselves a disservice.
Yeah, so they're playing tonight and then traveling 4.5, 5 hours to come play here Saturday night. And I haven't looked at the weather. It's not that bad this weekend, I think, comparatively to what it's been. But there should be advantage us with being fresh and having the ability to play the lineup we want to. Like, if you've got that much speed out there, that much talent, I think you have to roll it at home too. Like, I don't see how you can't not roll the same lineup out there. The interesting thing for me is, does Fatak make an appearance? Does Kiscante make the 20?
Like, I still don't understand why Hector made the 20 and Julio and Kolmanich didn't.
I think that's solely because Hector can play left and right back in a pinch, and Kolmanich can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
And I'm guessing Julio is a potential transfer thing?
The Costa Rican window is open until the end of the month.
Okay.
But, like, there's only 2 clubs in Costa Rica that can afford him.
Well, we only need one.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see if Saprissa makes it out of Central American Cup. They were running into some issues. I have to actually pull that up. I was reading John Arnold's getting CONCACAF and going over that, but admittedly, I have been a little bit behind on following my Central African Cup. That would be a weird tournament, but I've been a little bit behind on that. But I'll do some googling right now. And yeah, Saprissa they play against Municipal on Thursday, and effectively a winner-take-all match.
Okay. It did
But
strike
if they draw, they move on and likely make it to CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Okay.
I mean, also, like, I don't really care if the Costa Rican club can afford him or not, like, as long as he's off the...
Yeah, I mean, it was a little weird to see Hedges out there, right?
Yeah, the Hedges, there were like 20 members of Hedges' family there. But I don't know if there was anything special in that. But, I mean, he went the full match.
Yeah, I mean, he played fine, I guess. Like, he wasn't great, wasn't bad.
But, like, you could also tell me that, hey, Leo and Svatak are going to be your starters on Saturday, and we're going to keep the other 9 guys the same, and wouldn't be surprised.
So, while we're doing this, let's talk about Mikkel Dessler.
Yeah, oh my.
Because I have a bone to pick with Scott about this.
Okay. You mean my new favorite player ever, and the only one I've ever considered buying a jersey for this team?
A true Dane.
Yeah.
So, Scott, tell me why it's not stupid to invert fullbacks wrongly.
So, I think the term inverted is actually getting used in 2 different ways. Inverted wingers typically refers to wingers whose strongest player is toward the inside, where they cut in more. And generally, like, that can kind of work, but doesn't always. I'm kind of agnostic about it. Inverted fullbacks is kind of is typically and the rest of the team setup, etc. I think for fullbacks, a lot of times inverted usually refers to them, instead of making outside runs and playing more like as a like backup winger, support winger, they come inside the way Beirut did and Dessler was doing on Saturday, helping out with the build up and letting midfielders get to wider spots, especially Owen. I noticed a lot on the left side, and just try to like change up the numbers and change up the build up to confuse the defense a little bit. I think generally speaking, the Austin system is usually reliant on how well the interior midfielders can pass to the wingers and back. And so I think having the strongest foot on the outside helps with that, as opposed to like the other way around.
Okay, yeah. I always think of inverted fullbacks as like Joao Cancelo, fullback coming into midfield and basically being an added body in the midfield.
See,
So what you're saying kind of makes sense, but like, wouldn't you always want still your strong foot should be inside if you're playing more in, but I guess if you're playing more outside, like, I don't know, just seems odd to me.
Yeah, I mean, I always think of like Philip Lahm as doing it because that's the first one who I think of like doing it a lot, and so he would still play a right back and still be a strong right foot player even while he was sliding in midfield.
Yep. Okay. So I guess that instead of getting our fullbacks to the end line and then trying to make them sprint back is probably helping a little bit too.
And it's also like this guy is comfortable making passes on both of his feet, and just the passes that he was able to make him more flexible of a player. So even if he's not in his ideal position, it is still, you get to a point there where he's going to be an asset, and he's going to be able to find space and create opportunities that we've never had a player like this for Austin before.
No, I agree. And the big thing for me that I noticed is when he kind of dribbles into midfield, some guy will come run at him like full bore, and he'll just go, "Oh, I can turn you, or you can bounce off me, or whatever." Like, you're not a problem.
I mean, the move that he made on Jacob Schaffelberg in the second half was jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
To me, there was a play in the first half. He had the silkiest first touch just outside the box that I can remember one of our defenders ever having. I have not been more impressed with a player that we have brought in this quickly in the history of this team. Like, Dessler to me is quietly, Bakari's going to get all the goals, and I get it. I think long-term, Dessler is the more impactful signing.
100%.
For the ability to calm this team down and give it a stability in the back line.
Well, these are the signings we need to make to actually like be a year in, year out contender, right? Is, we need to get our DPs right, but our TAM or like mid to upper tier signings are guys like this who you're like, fuck, this guy can play.
Yeah.
It almost doesn't matter where we put him, like stick him in midfield, put him at fullback, like get him on the field. One of those kind of guys. Any other thoughts on Mikkel Dessler?
Yeah, I mean, overall, like, super glad that he's locked up on a long-term contract.
Mm-hmm. On a GAM contract as well.
Yeah. Also, one of the few Austin players who came over, even though they had to walk by in front of the away fans, he made a point of actually like standing there and acknowledging them, which very few of the other players did.
And
But
he
did
it for a good minute, and it was him by himself. It was so super awkward, actually.
Interesting.
But
I mean, it wasn't awkward. It was awkward for everyone else to not be joining him, was my point.
Yeah.
We'll get to the second half in a second, but I saw this video of Josh Wolf like asking the crowd for a beer and like taking a sip out of it.
Yes. So there were a bunch.
What the fuck happened?
So there were 100 Austin fans in the supporters section, and then there was probably another 200 people who were just in the stadium, including a bunch of Yeti reps and others. And my understanding of that is that was some corporate sponsor that he was personally close with that he asked for the beer from.
Okay, so it wasn't just him being a cool dude.
So it's propaganda.
Fine, but it's good
I'm not going to say quite
propaganda,
but it was, we'll call it planned marketing.
We'll take good propaganda at this point, like Jesus. Compared to what we've been dealt the past 2 years or so.
I mean, honestly, like, I was walking the concourse of the stadium with Alfredo beforehand, and we just kept bumping into people in Verde, and it was like nearly every one of them was some sponsor that came over.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yes, so they are trying to get their sponsors to away matches and trying to build up support for the club and whatever. There was a decent amount of Verde in that stadium, but it's also like Nashville's not that hard of a place or that expensive of a place to get to.
No.
Yeah, and people like to party in Nashville. It just is what it is.
Yes,
It's a good away day.
it is. Except that like that stadium is like pretty hard to get in and out of, as we found out. Like there's no like there's not even a bus that takes you from that stadium to downtown or anywhere else. It's weird.
A little bit of a walk, and it's right next to the Speedway out there, and it's not much there.
Yeah, and it's on a hill, and it's just it's a mess of a situation getting in and out. But beautiful stadium.
Yeah. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln.
Yeah.
Brad, take us to Brad Stuver's other amazing save.
Yeah, so this was what 55th-ish minute of the match.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was a ball towards the top of the box, and it was laced. I mean, and it took a little bit. I think it even took a little bit of deflection on the way in, and Stuver had just reset his feet from a previous play, and makes a dive to his left to get that save that I think was a better save than the PK save. From the reaction portion of it and just the way you had to go make that play, maybe the best save he's made all year.
I mean, you're right. He like absolutely fucking hammered that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like great reaction save. I don't know if it took a deflection, but either way.
Yeah, so something I think is always kind of like an interesting thought experiment is to look at the saves that Stuver makes on shots versus the goals that Austin scores, and how like Gallagher literally just like five-holed Willis, and like in a way that like Stuver would never allow a goal. But then like you look at him like saving PKs and making these reaction saves, and you're just like, oh yeah, like this guy is so much better than every other MLS keeper, and all the other guys that we play. And like it must be really disheartening as like an attacker against Austin to like get the chances and be like, oh, I hit that so clean, and then just like Stuver still stops it.
The XG for Nashville the other night was 1.94 at the end of the match. Like usually when your XG is that high, you at least have one on the board. And Stuber played out of his mind, and he got a MLS starting keeper team of the week as he should have. But that was just a display, I think, all night long. He made a few other decent saves and was in great position, but those two, between the PK save and that second half save, the man was just unbelievable Saturday night, and to a level that he's been great all year. He's been great all 4 years he's been here, but I thought he went to a level that he has rarely touched in his career, because that was, you may not see a better overall keeper performance in this league this season.
No, and he claimed crosses too. It wasn't like it was just a couple like woo howdy saves.
Yeah.
Played the ball out of his feet very well. Sorry, I'm going back and looking at this list of banned terms that Seth sent us out of the official MLS rulebook, and this is clearly written by white people who don't play sports.
Yes. You mean lawyers?
Yes, pretty much. And the word count is not on it.
But if you use count, but it is a non-exhaustive list.
Sure, and I mean that's a good way to write it. But just, I don't know. I hope more on this story comes out and we find out, you know, the actual context, because I hope it's like a mistranslation thing, but I guess the version we've heard so far, I don't think is what happened.
Yeah, I'll see.
Yeah. Before we get to goal 2, anything else in the second half we need to cover?
No, not before the goal.
Well, I will say Josh Wolf did not sub until the 81st minute of this match. It took a long time for our first subs to come in, and like things were going pretty smoothly. It's like, but also like it was not Austin level hot, but it was a humid night out there. I mean, heat index was close to 90 degrees, and we had a full bench, and we did not use a sub until after the 80th minute.
Yeah, I was getting frustrated by that, and then the goal happened because I was actually calling for Obrian to come in with fresh legs to start running at him on a counterattack. But the goal happened, and it proved Josh right on this one. I'm with you though. We did that right before the break too, for the tournament that apparently happened that I didn't watch.
We can talk about it. It's just an exhibition tournament.
Yeah, I literally didn't watch it, so I have no idea.
Highlights of the first game, or maybe the second game, because I wanted to see the Owen Deeks, like 9 guys who weren't trying part.
So yeah, I guess if I saw highlights on Twitter, that's what I watched.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw that in those previous matches just before the break, where Josh was waiting a little too long for my taste to sub. I'd like to see us use our players a little more on the bench, especially in a 1-0 game. Like, let's get some fresh legs at them. Let's not let tired legs be the reason we give up a goal for no reason.
I'm kind of okay with this because we're going to have this as our like set starting 11. We just had a bunch of time off, 2.5 plus weeks since the last exhibition game. Get minutes in their legs. We have a week off. Get them ready because we have a lot of games hard and fast, and go ahead and like get the blood pumping and get them used to it again.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, if you look at our schedule, I mean, we play Saturday, and then we're off for 2 weeks, but then it comes at Toronto, at LA, home to Houston. We do get a week off, but then home to RSL, at Portland, at Galaxy. Like, that's a bit. I mean, that's 6 games. Obviously, it's most of the rest of the season, but that's a 6-game stretch in 22 days. It's a lot of games.
Yeah, and I mean, can we discuss how dumb MLS scheduling is again? Since we do it every goddamn week.
Yes, of course.
So we have a few games, then international break, and then a few games, then international break. This just adds to the whole Leagues Cup as a giant waste of time thing.
Yeah. I don't know if they could have actually gotten in some consistent matches and maybe taken a little bit of a break around like the group stage of Euros and Copa America. But no, why would we do that?
Turn some of these Wednesday matches into Saturday matches during Leagues Cup, have the season end on Saturday, October 5th, use the international break for a bye week, and then start the playoffs?
Yeah, no, I mean, throwing ideas out there.
Yeah, or how about you do almost all the playoffs before the international break, and then just do a final right after it, right before Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This isn't that hard, MLS.
No,
I don't know.
isn't, but they're making it that hard.
I mean, Don Carr's been doing this for 25 years, guys. I don't know that we should question him.
But like, it's one of those things. Like, I feel like we have to give Don Garber the Joe Biden treatment. You've done your time. You've done things. You have. I mean, admittedly, MLS was in a shitty place before Don Garber. Don Garber saved the league and then held on instead of like not too much longer. He held on like, I don't know, 10 years too long.
Yeah, I think Riley tweeted out the other day, is this one of these to that MLS, like, congratulations, Don Garber on 25 years tweet. Is this like hockey where we're supposed to boo the commissioner every time we see him?
Yes, it really should be at a certain point. But so, Don Garber has prided himself on not being a soccer fan. It's like, I am leading this league through business acumen. And you know what? Every great business could tell you that playing a third-place game for a meaningless tournament in front of fewer than 6,000 people in one of your premier markets is a great business decision.
Yeah. All right, Scott, tell us about the goal.
So the goal is kind of something that we haven't really seen Austin do before, because Austin players typically don't win foot races. But in this one, the ball pops out, and you can clearly see Bukhari and Joe Willis realize that one of them is going to get the ball, and one is not going to get the ball. And whoever doesn't get the ball, whoever gets the ball is absolutely going to. If Bukhari gets the ball, he's absolutely going to score. He gets the ball because he's much faster than you expect to see, based on his size and how much distance he had to make up. And then I think the thing that's actually really impressive is that he had the presence of mind to take a couple steps, get his feet right, knew where the defenders were, and just put it in a way that they had no chance of trying to catch up to it. He didn't try to take it into the box to make the shot easier. He was just like, no, I'm just going to set the feet and hit the shot, and it's going to score. And now that I've got the ball, nobody's going to stop me.
And I'm not going to try to leather it through the back of the net. I'm going to hit it hard enough. I know nobody's going to catch up to it, but it's very clearly going to go in.
He now
it
owns
was
the
kind of
longest
like-
goal in distance for Austin FC.
Wow.
Was it
Can you
longer?
think
It
of
was
one longer?
than a Rudy against San Jose in 2022.
Yeah. Ooh.
Was that longer? I don't know.
I think it's similar.
But Rudy's was much more center of the field, and this was from an
Yeah.
angle.
Yeah.
I don't know
Sorry.
how to find the answer to this question, Seth. Do you know?
I don't have it. I don't know if I just don't know if there's an easy way to pull that up.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Does
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I don't know of anyone who tracks that.
Amazon Web Services, according to their commercials.
No, it's RBC Wealth Management. We got to get our stupid people not confused here.
But yeah, no, I think it's like it goes to show like what kind of counterattacking team Austin can be, especially late in games. They have so much speed and so much space behind. And Bukhari just really brings a dimension that, as fast as O'Brien is, he is not up to Bukhari's level.
I am going to confidently say Bukhari's goal is further out, by the way. I just watched Maxi's goal again. He was only about 24, 25 yards out.
Yeah, I suspect this is the longest one if Maxi is second.
Yeah. I actually think Treusi has one longer than Maxi.
Well, also Danny had that howitzer in Charlotte in 22.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I just watched Maxi's goal. Maxi's goal is about 24, 25 yards.
Was the Drusi one against Red Bull?
Yes.
Am I remembering that right?
That was about 30 to 35 yards out. Yeah.
That's still a wild game.
But let's face it. So we've had two very, very long goals. Actually, three that have been scored against Austin FC that have been longer than that.
Yes.
Houston, RSL.
And Houston RSL, and then obviously Rui Diaz.
Rui Diaz, yeah. I knew I was missing an obvious one.
Yeah.
But it was a nice goal.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, on the comparison Scott was making, like, I think O'Brien is a little more Luis Mendoza and Bukhari is a little more I know how to use my speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the underrated part of the goal was him picking the pocket of the defender in the first place, or the attacking player. Because he made the whole thing happen by a really nice step to poke the ball away and then winning the foot race too, right? So I think, yeah, all in, Bukhari's he showed in that goal what I think fans know what he can bring. He also had a play early in the second half where he got a left-footed shot off after kind of cutting back in. That was really nice to the far post and hell of a save to keep it out. I thought the little bit that we've seen of him, this was the first time I felt like watching him that he looked really comfortable with the team.
So I'm just going to point it out. The Nashville defender, if he was coached by Mikel Arteta, who hires pickpockets to steal shit from his fucking team at a team dinner, would have never lost that ball if he had that sort of weird traumatic event happen to him for no reason.
Okay, can I I'm sorry. So here's the thing though, like if they're known pickpockets, they can't be that good at pickpocketing, right? Like I feel as though the best pickpockets are the ones you don't know are pickpockets.
Well, I mean, they're probably known in the criminal underworld, like whatever the Guy Ritchie movie circle of this is.
Okay, so you think so just get this straight. You think Mikel Arteta went to the London Underground to find the best pickpockets nobody knows about to steal wallets from his own team during a dinner?
No, that some poor intern at Arsenal was tasked with doing this.
That's what happened.
Okay, so
Arsenal, who's a fantastic Twitter follow, had a tweet immediately after that story came out that said, imagine you work for Arsenal and you get an email from Mikel Arteta saying you need to hire an army of pickpockets. I'll see you on Tuesday.
You just find out which pickpockets put Tottenham tickets in someone's pocket, and that way you know they're really good because nobody would actually take it.
Exactly.
I like that Brad's learning Premier League.
Yeah.
This idea of me going to on a trip to England later this year with Seth is pretty entertaining, honestly.
Yes, and listeners can nominate matches that we should go to over the festive period. So
Yeah.
if you're listening at this point in the podcast, you know how to find us. But feel free to nominate matches that we should go to.
Yeah, there's a trip being put together. I'm trying to go. I'm more than likely going. Seth knows there is a caveat that is involving another Europe vacation potentially next year. So we'll see.
Well, actually, I mean, you'd actually be going to Europe if you do that trip. I don't know if you'd be going to Europe on this trip.
Well, wait, is Scotland more Europe than England?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
like the British don't consider themselves part of Europe, even though it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, well,
okay.
they Brexited themselves, and the Scots.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's fair. Yes. Well, the caveat being, if I get drawn to play St. Andrews golf, I'm going to play golf. But
yeah.
Otherwise.
All right. Seems like a good time to transition into format.
Hold on. I have my moment of suffering because I'm the one that didn't speak up yet.
Okay.
It was actually after the Bukhari goal. We could have gone up 3-0, and then Jossie's artist remembered he doesn't like to shoot the ball 7 yards from the goal. I was not happy. Sorry. And then I kind of go, oh, that's why we didn't start a striker.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We ready?
Yep.
Brad, why don't you go first on stock rising?
So I had 2 players down here, but I'm actually going to go to Alex Ring. He got the armband back, and it's a double edge, right? Like, I think the team is playing more inspired. I think he looks happier, more controlled, and more comfortable with the armband back. And I think Driussi looks happier on the pitch right now and playing
weight
freer.
off his shoulders 100%.
He just looks like he's playing freer. So for my stock rising, it is Captain Ring.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. Seth, you want to go next?
Sure. I think I'm going to go with the other person that Brad was likely going to choose. He's already praised, and I've praised as well, as Mikkel Dessler. I mean, I had high expectations for the guy coming in, but it looked like, I mean, this is a match that involved 2 years ago the 2 guys who were running candidates to be MLS MVP, and Dessler was the best man on that field. I mean, Stuver sort of notwithstanding, but of the 20 non-goalkeepers, was by far the best player on that field. And if you had to guess, like, oh, what's the guy that recently came over from Europe, or is the person who could be the MVP of this league, was not any of the DPs, but it was just Dessler being everywhere, winning every duel he was involved in, being crisp, clean on his passes, creating opportunities. And like, it's a beautiful thing to see, especially a player that was like signed on 6 months notice. Like, okay, is this actually going to happen? Is this really coming through? And it's like, oh, Roto, you know what you're doing. Okay, good.
Scott, who's your stock rising?
My stock rising is unwarranted optimism. Look, winning's fun. I understand that winning is fun, but Nashville's bad. They're like wooden. They'd be a wooden spoon contender if it wasn't for San Jose bad. They've scored 1 goal since July 13th. They've only won one. They've only gotten a draw once in their last 9 games. The fans openly hate the team. They fired their coach. All the fans think that they should blow it up. Nobody was showing up on Saturday. Yes, it's great that we won and beat a bad team, but at the same time, like, we need to check expectations that, like, Austin's back, or Austin's gonna get in the playoffs toward the end of the season, and blah blah blah. Like, calm, guys.
Yeah, every game left except Toronto is against the playoff team, right?
And Toronto's 8th. Toronto's
never
Yeah.
mind. Then I had looked at the schedule. I had the standings today, so that makes sense.
I'm sorry, you mean Canadian Championship finalist Toronto?
I'm going to take the fun while we can get it, but you did very much hit the theme of suffering from joy. There's a lot of we're so back, but I'm with you. It's going to be an interesting run-in. Hopefully everybody has some good Predictatrons in. I'm going to take the other low-hanging fruit here, and Brad talked about it ad nauseum, but it's Brad Stuber.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, quasi-additional one, Seth sort of said it, but it's Roto too. You know, his 2 big signings are, you know, we didn't see Svadek, but Dessler was, you know, a man amongst boys, and Bukhari looked great and scored a goal. So what else do you want him to do? Any stocks falling? Scott, you want to go first?
Yeah, my stock falling is the ball actually moving while the clock's running.
Yes.
We talked about like the numerous long pauses, whether it was for VAR checks on penalties or the foul on the goal that Driussi scored, or for some kind of language use that we're not sure about. 11 minutes of first half stoppage time was absolutely insane. You could tell that like the crowd itself was like, can this dude just blow the whistle already? And I wanted to say that something about that too is that about 10 minutes of stoppage time, Driussi fell awkwardly and looked like he had gotten injured. And you're kind of like, oh yeah, this is why we shouldn't have halves run this long.
Yep.
Because it does actually become a like, yeah, we joke about it and it's kind of silly, but like it is also a player safety issue.
Well, especially everybody gets warmed up. We have 5 minutes right after the game starts for that VAR review. We have 5 minutes, whatever it was, in the 30th minute. They're not training to go like stop, start with 5 minute breaks like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also like, it's just ugly soccer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brad, you want to go next?
Yeah, I kind of hit on it already, but my stock falling is strikers. Playing Driussi to false nine. Both Rubio and Zardes were on the team sheet, but didn't play until 82nd, 83rd minute. We still desperately need a true threatening starting number 9 on this roster, and I don't think we're going to see it until next year at this point. I don't know how we can with the window closed, but it looks like we might be going towards the FIFA strategy of just throw all your best players on the roster on your team on the field at the same time and don't worry about positioning.
I don't know if that's the worst idea in MLS.
No, it's a very BJ Callahan move, right? And I'm okay with it.
Go play.
Yeah.
There's a famous Pep quote that I don't think he actually employs, but hey, I'm going to set up with the entire structure for you guys. I'll get you to the final third, then you guys go fucking figure it out. It's kind of what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seth, how about you?
So my stock falling is going to be Austin FC coaching and front office leadership staff wearing Verde. Josh debuted a semi-new look for this match of the gray polo and black pants, where BJ went the exact opposite approach. But Rodo was wearing a blue shirt, and it was like, oh, why is Rodo wearing a blue shirt? And it turns out that blue is Rodo's lucky color. And, well, this is the first time he had worn that shirt to an Austin FC match, and we did win. So expect to see a lot more of Blue Roto in the next 8 matches if this team is going to want to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, I always like when we do esoteric ones of these.
Hey, I mean, we have to find some things here, and we found something on this one.
Wasn't Stuber in the blue keeper kit?
He was.
He was.
Yeah, there you go, Roto. It all
But
checks out.
but the question is, well, I mean, I feel like Roto could be a little harder to find at matches at home. But for you guys who are there on Saturday, see if you spot him if he's wearing that blue shirt against a team that wears a blue kit.
We'll ask friend of the podcast, Arias, as he usually spots him over there by the Alexis Club area.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go outside the box here. And so a couple weeks ago, Seth and I almost recorded an episode about refereeing. And I was about to say a lot of very nice things about Howard Webb and his off-season program to reform the English referees, and none of that shit has come true.
Yes.
So it's so much worse than last year, and we're 2 weeks in.
And it's incredible. I mean, they do put out tweets now that they've had to turn off the comment replies because they're so vile. So they just rack up thousands of quote tweets for every wrong call.
I think you and I had like a friendly wager about that, and I said it would be gone before the first weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bad, people. I mean, MLS isn't great, but it's also not billing itself as like the best league in the world and has like 9th tier referees in it. So it's going to be a fun year. Anything else we want to hit on? Do we want to talk about Poch at all and the hire for U.S. soccer?
When is it going to be confirmed?
I don't know. After Greg coaches the World Cup.
Sure feels like that. Todd Bowley, you are a patriotic American. Do your duty and get this done. I mean, you have
Yeah,
enough money
fine.
to buy everyone else. Why don't you give
Yeah.
them enough money to go pay a coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think it changes every second, but I think I looked today and Chelsea have a current 43-man squad.
Chelsea, including players on loan, have the rights to 10 first-team goalies right now.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Like, Gaga Slonina, why are you he's better? Like, MLS is better than League One. Why are you in League One right now? Like, it's not upgraded your career, despite the fact that Chelsea spent a bunch of money on your transfer fee.
Don't know.
But you know what? I will say, in amazing MLS news right now, we were supposed to be doing this live watch along during the Sporting KC Indy 11 U.S. Open Cup game, which is under thunderstorm delay. Well, it's thunderstorming outside my place in Chicago as well. But Sporting KC has given all of their fans a $10 voucher to spend who are at the game right now because it is thunderstorming.
Well, that's nice. That's more than we get, but still not going to buy anything.
I mean, I think you can get the cheapest beer there for $10.
Oh, what was the barbecue thing you got there?
I got like this bucket. I got like this whole thing of sliders, fries, onion rings. It was like $26.
That's not bad though.
Yeah.
All right. I guess the other thing we can do. We got a couple minutes here. Scott, what was the best thing you ate on your summer vacation?
Thinking. Okay, so one thing it wasn't was hot chicken, which I have to say is incredibly overrated. It's just spicy.
It's just
chicken.
fucking spicy chicken.
Special.
Thank you.
Hot chicken is not a flavor. Hot is not a flavor.
Yes.
We need to clear this up.
Also, as somebody who I ordered something on the far hot scale, and I actually didn't think it was that hot. I don't know. I didn't think it compared to Southeast Asian hot or Indian hot. I thought it was kind of meh.
I like fried chicken. I like hot chicken, I should say. But if you want the true Southern fried chicken experience, that ain't it.
Yeah.
That ain't it.
Yeah.
Sorry. So what did you end up eating that you like, Scott? I feel like you're about to answer that. I messed you.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what it was? It was at Kamari Tatsuya, they have Raisin jerky that you cook yourself on the table. That, if done correctly, is absolutely magical. The problem, of course, is that it's kind of difficult to do and it takes some practice. So you really only get one piece at the end that's actually really good. But it's
nice.
I'll go next here. I got to do one of the coolest things. So there's this restaurant in Chicago called Brindle, which is this fancy French restaurant that if you go for their 5-course tasting menu is $155 before tip, tax, booze, all that stuff. 8 courses over $200. For the Olympics, since they were in Paris, they're like, hey, we're going to do a promotion that every time France wins a medal in the Olympics, if you're the first person to email us, you get a 7-course tasting menu for $20.24. And I happened to win that on one. It was unclear because I emailed them 3 or 4 times. I didn't know which one I actually won on, but it's great to be working at home and having Gold Zone on. And ended up, my girlfriend and I got to have a 7-course dinner for $20.24. I mean, my glass of red wine was more than $20.24. But it was a pretty amazing experience.
Nice.
Nice.
Brad, how about you?
So I had to travel last week for work. And while I was in Louisville, Kentucky, went out for business dinner at Doc Crow's. It's not one of the fanciest places in town, but it's good. It's right there on Whiskey Row. And had a fantastic plate of Southern-style shrimp and grits with fried green tomatoes.
Nice.
And some andouille sausage on the shrimp and grits. It was quite
that sounds I can't eat that, but it still sounds great.
it was quite lovely. And, also did a few different bourbon bars. There's a old hotel in downtown called the Seelbach Hotel that is haunted, and it has a 100+ year old whiskey bar in it that Al Capone drank at back in the day too. So it's pretty awesome.
Very nice.
So
okay.
Did that last week on business, and probably the best thing I've had in a while, along with the 3-finger thick tomahawk steak I cooked the other week too.
I was going to ask. I thought I saw pictures of that.
Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah, it was all right.
Have Have you gotten to go to Jeff Ruby's in Louisville on any of your trips there?
I have, and it is one of the 2 best steaks I've ever eaten in my life.
Oh,
I think it's that and a steakhouse in New York called Gallagher's.
oh yeah, that's famous. Yeah.
Yeah, that are the 2 best I've ever had. But yeah, there's also another place. If you're around, we're talking Louisville. Damian Loss, if you're listening, you've probably been there. But there's a place close to the stadium in Louisville in a cool little neighborhood that is called Veronice. Not that expensive. You can go and get some really high quality food and high end food for mid-tier prices. You can get a really good plate of food for $20 there, as opposed to paying $50, $60 somewhere else, like you would in downtown Austin for the same thing. So yeah, it's an underrated city. If anybody ever gets a shot, or if you want to go see Loss play while he's on loan, like Louisville's a very, very cool town. And I happen to have to go about once a year for work.
Very nice.
You just got to get there when the horsies are in town.
It always works out when I'm there when the horsies are not in town, and it drives me insane.
We'll make it happen at some point.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we want to close on?
No, I think I have a dilemma Saturday, as I'm sure most of us, or at least those of us going to the game Saturday do, which is what time to get down there, because there's a lot of pregame activity Saturday, and it's also opening day of college football season. The first full opening day of college football, I should say, because we did have soft launch last week.
Mizzou plays on Thursday.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a couple. There's an upset special Thursday night to be paying attention to as well.
Fuck off. Not
you. North Dakota State is going to go in and beat Colorado Thursday night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah. So, I think Saturday it's going to be a fun day, but yeah, I know there's a lot of activities down at Hop Squad pregame that I'm planning on going to as well. So, going to need the phone fully charged and need the TVs at Hop Squad to make sure we got some football on too while everything's going on.
It'll be an adventure, but I'm sure we can manage it.
Yeah. And then 3 of the 4 of us are heading to Toronto in a few weeks for the match.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can do some sort of travelogue thing. I will be on my way to Copenhagen when you guys are doing that. So we'll see what we can get out for you guys. But without further ado, on behalf of Brad, Scott, and Seth, thanks for suffering with us. Bye.
Thomas here for Austin Jarrett Stroud. It's Diego for goodness! He has written his name into Austin folklore. They just won't go away. Oh, he hits the upright again! That's impossible!
The Bears' season's going to end on a double doink.
Altidore squares it. Dempsey's missed it. Donovan has it. From hope, there is glory.